me aside again. "Sloan, honey, can we talk?" She led me to the kitchen where Veronica and Richard were waiting. The three of them looked at me with these serious expressions, and I knew the real conversation was about to happen. Richard started by saying they'd all grown very fond of me over the past few weeks. Diane added that they could see how happy I made Adrian. Then Veronica cut to the chase. "But we're concerned about the financial dynamic of your relationship." I asked what they meant, playing innocent. Veronica said they'd noticed I was struggling financially, which was completely understandable, but they worried about how that would affect Adrian's future. "He's worked so hard to get where he is," Richard said. "We just don't want to see him held back by having to support someone who can't contribute equally." The words hung in the air, and I let them. Diane jumped in with what she probably thought was a kind tone. "We're not saying you're a bad person, Sloan. We can see you have a good heart, but sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes practical considerations have to matter too." I asked if they were asking me to break up with Adrian, and the three of them exchanged looks. "We're asking you to think about what's best for him," Veronica said carefully. "Is it fair to let him build a future with someone who's going to be a financial burden?" I felt my jaw clench, but I kept my voice steady. I told them I understood their concerns, but Adrian and I were adults who could make our own decisions about our relationship. Richard shook his head and said, "We hoped you'd be reasonable about this. We're prepared to make it worth your while to walk away." He pulled out an envelope and set it on the counter between us. "There's $5,000 in there. Take it, tell Adrian you're moving for a job opportunity, and let him move on with his life." I stared at the envelope, then at the three of them. Diane actually had tears in her eyes like she hated doing this. Veronica looked businesslike and cold. Richard just looked determined. I picked up the envelope, opened it, and counted the cash while they watched. Then I laughed. It started as a chuckle but built into full, genuine laughter that made all three of them uncomfortable. "Is something funny?" Veronica asked with an edge to her voice. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app, turning the screen so they could all see it. The balance showed $847,000, and that was just my personal checking account. "You want to pay me $5,000 to leave your son?" I said, still laughing. "I spent more than that on his birthday present. That $20 book? First edition? Authenticated? Purchased at Sotheby's?" The color drained from Diane's face. Richard grabbed the phone to look closer at the screen. Veronica's mouth literally fell open. I took my phone back and pulled up my LinkedIn profile, the real one I'd hidden from Adrian and his family. Sloan Whitmore, founder and former CEO of Catalyst Digital Marketing. Sold the company last year for $8.3 million. Currently on the board of directors for 3 Fortune 500 companies. Net worth somewhere north of $15 million, depending on the market. I watched them process this information, their faces going through various stages of shock and confusion. Then I pulled up the photos I'd been collecting over the past few weeks. Screenshots of Richard's dealerships, Diane's board positions, Veronica's law firm partnership, their actual house in Meadowbrook with the Tesla in the driveway. "Did you really think I didn't know who you were?" I asked, my voice harder now. "I did my research the day after Adrian and I first met. I knew you were testing me from the moment we pulled up to this rental house." Diane actually gasped. "How did you?" Richard asked weakly. "How did you know it was a rental?" "Property records are public, Richard. This house is owned by Select Property Management and has been rented on a month-to-month basis since 6 weeks ago, right around when Adrian probably told you he was getting serious with someone." I turned to Diane. "Nice touch with the Hermes scarf."